248-539-9797. Ticket text 97136. Brian was actually going to ask us about what would happen if there's a three-way tie for the wild card. Okay? Which would be, theoretically, Toronto, Baltimore, and Detroit. My understanding from having read Jason Stark writing about this, and if I get this wrong, Stoney, will you cut me off?
Because I'm reading the technical definition. It's very convoluted. But go ahead.
So basically, you start off, you take the three teams. Okay? You divide by 2 and add 6. No, you take the three teams and you figure out who's got the best head-to-head record. Okay, so they're the first seed, if you will. And they get the option as to what they want to do. They can host game 1 or they can host game 2. And most likely what they will do is host game 1. So the 1 seed would play the 2 seed, and the loser of that game would go and play the 3 seed. The winner of that game would go back and play the 1 seed. So basically, if you're the 1 seed, you have a chance to lose a game and still advance.
That's bizarre.
Does that make sense to you?
No, it doesn't. So put team names in there. It may be easier for me to follow.
Toronto plays Baltimore.
Okay.
Toronto's the top seed. Okay?
Orioles versus Jays.
Orioles win it. Okay?
And Toronto's number 1.
Toronto's number 1. Orioles win it. So Baltimore comes to Detroit to play the Tigers. That is an elimination game. Whoever loses that game is out. The winner of that game goes back to Toronto to play the third game, and the winner of that game advances. So by playing in the first game, by being one of the top 2 seeds, you essentially are giving yourself an out, giving yourself a loss, allowing for a loss.
Okay, you're guaranteed to have a second game.
You're in a double elimination format, whereas the third seed is not in a double elimination format. So you can sit there and go, oh, the Tigers have the advantage because they're just sitting there waiting for the loser. Not so fast, because the Tigers know if they're the third seed, that they have to win. There's no room for error. There's no margin for error, where if you're one of the top 2 seeds, there is a margin for error. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I guess so. So if the third seed who's waiting, or who's ever waiting, wins against their opponent,
then they go to the top seed's home park to play them. So obviously that will take 3 days, because I don't think they're going to do double headers.
No.
Although it'd be really convenient if it was Toronto and Detroit, because it'd be like, okay, great. Drive on down. We'll play tonight. Or in Stoney's case, forget about tonight. We'll play tomorrow. And then drive back and play the next one. I don't know. There's always, Jason Stark, you mentioned this last week, wrote an article, what if 6 teams tied for the wild card? Because that was back when the Yankees were still kind of in it.
And Seattle and Houston.
Yeah, with the 3 teams that are most closely in it right now. And Seattle's only 2 out. But if you think 88 is the number, they would have to go 4-1 or 5-0 the rest of the way to get in, and I just don't think that's very likely. Dave and Jackson, you're on 97.1 The Ticket. Dave, how are you?
Real good, guys. How you doing?
Great.
Hey, I'm a NASCAR fan. Years ago, Rusty Wallace was fined by NASCAR, and he wasn't happy with the fine, so he paid it all in pennies. Got an armored truck and dropped it off to him right at the racetrack.
Oh, my God.
I assume it was in bags at least.
Oh, yeah, bags of pennies. Yep, like $5,000, $10,000. That's one here and heck.
Oh.
Do we have a weight? I guess, why am I so caught up in the weight?
Know.
It's like what Stoney was saying. That has to be a tremendous amount of weight that you'd have to
That's why he needed
lug around.
The big armored
truck with a dolly and things like that.
Well, it doesn't sound like Mike Tolbert used an armored truck. He used
a truck. I don't know what kind of truck, but he said
rolled it off the back of his truck.
Yes.
All right, Jamie. Suppose Seattle goes 4-0, the Tigers go 3-1, Orioles split their 4, and Toronto goes 1-3. You know what happens?
4-way tie?
You got it. It's a 4-way.
Can you imagine that, like, the Tigers would have to travel to Seattle and then come back? And that's just insanity.
You know what? They'd never do this. You'd almost say, you know what? You 4 teams show up in Arizona, okay? It's a domed ballpark, so even if it rains in Arizona, we're playing. We'll play a doubleheader the first day, and then we'll play elimination or something like that, right?
Isn't Milwaukee's covered?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Milwaukee.
Or Tampa in that piece of crap place.
Yeah, but you're talking about more of a central location. Yeah.
Milwaukee would be the place.
Yeah, Milwaukee would be the place. Because if you go to Arizona, you're in Seattle's time zone.
They move
everything
to Ford Field when you have weather issues.
Well, that's what somebody tweeted that out. Can they get baseball lines on Ford Field? But as someone else pointed out, there was a curse on that because of what happened back in 2006. All right, coming up next, Jim Harbaugh. He had a very interesting answer when we asked him again about Jabril Peppers. We almost should get a sponsorship each week for our Jabril Peppers question. That's coming up next. Jamie and Stoney on 97.1 The Ticket.